Van Morrison escalates war against Northern Ireland health minister. New song Dangerous appears to target Robin Swan, who is suing singer for defamation. So I thought this was interesting because, Van Morrison, he's from the 60s. I mean, he's still making songs, like, let's go. Van Morrison's latest singles appears to be the latest move in the singer's multi-year feud with Robin Swan, the Northern Ireland Minister of Health, who last fall filed a defamation lawsuit against the 76-year-old singer. Over a breezy R&B groove, Morrison spends nearly 8 minutes on Dangerous, extolling his truth-telling bona fides. Somebody said I was dangerous, sings Morrison. I said something bad. It must have been good. The refrain seems to be a reference to Robin Swan's 2020 op-ed in Rolling Stone, in which the public health official called Morrison dangerous in reference to the singer's efforts to perform live music during the early months of 2020 lockdown. Also, I have Van in my name. Van Moving Dutchman. Nice. Van Moving Mexican the Third. It goes further than disappointment, Swan wrote. Some of what he is saying is actually dangerous. It could encourage people to not take the coronavirus seriously. If you see it all as a big conspiracy, then you are less likely to follow the vital public health advice that keeps you and others safe. Oh, is that... You know what's funny? And I'm not going to go down this too much because I know that this is not the... Anyways, the CDC, the John Hopkins Center has declared that the lockdown measures that we took here in America did almost nothing for the spread of the coronavirus, and in fact helped and they think that it's done more damage than it has good. And maybe I should back that up with some actual hard evidence. We'll come back to Van Morrison. And we're not going to stay on this for too long. Research on COVID lockdowns. See if we can get this. John Hopkins study says ill-funded COVID lockdowns. Researchers, let's see. Let's just see whoever this healthfeedback.org. So we're gonna kind of work our way back. Claims that a John Hopkins study showed lockdowns are ineffective in reducing COVID-19 mortality are based on a working paper with questionable methods. Okay, so we'll take this for what it is. We're not going to talk, I'm not going to go into what's right or wrong. We're just going to go for what this is for now. Source Connor Boyd, misrepresents source. The working paper's analysis includes some studies that actually conclude lockdowns to be beneficial in reducing COVID-19 mortality, but the paper's authors instead represented these ideas as showing that lockdowns were detrimental. So this is misleading. So review. In early February, so this is anti that paper. So let's just read in this quickly and then we'll move on. In February 2020, and I don't know who the fuck Health Feedback is, so whoever this source is, who fucking knows? In early February 2022, multiple social media posts and articles published by various outlets, including Fox News, See Here, and the Daily Mail, widely touted. Let's go and actually look at these because I don't want to hear why it's wrong. I just want to see the fucking argument. Is it going to take us somewhere? Oh, this is Fox News. And so it's the Daily Mail. What is this, Fox? This is Fox. Okay, so we'll go with Fox News, whatever. A recent controversial... Okay, come on, fuckface. A recent controversial Johns Hopkins meta-analysis reignites a discussion about the adverse consequences of lockdowns after finding they had no significant mortality benefit during the first wave of the 2020 pandemic in the United States and Europe, according to a recent report. We find no evidence that lockdowns and school closures, border closures, and limiting gatherings have had a noticeable effect on COVID-19 mortality, said the authorities of the study, which is not peer-reviewed and reflects the author's views, not necessarily those of the university. Okay, so there you go. That's something to be taken into consideration. The study authors, however, did find closing non-essential businesses reduced COVID-19 mortality by 10.6%, which is likely most related to the closure of bars. Should be rejected out of hand. Lockdowns only reduce COVID deaths by a rate of 0.2%, study finds. Our study shows the benefits of lockdown in terms of fewer deaths are questionable and small, Jonas Herby, special advisor at the Center of Political Studies in Copenhagen, Denmark, told Fox News. Herby's research focuses on law and economics, and he is the co-author of the study. The meta-analysis, a survey or study of previous studies, which Herby, which is a very funny name for a scientist, wrote along with two other prominent economists, noted lockdowns have had devastating effects as society weathers in unintended consequences. They have contributed to reducing economic activity, raising unemployment, reducing schooling, causing political unrest, contributing to domestic violence, and undermining liberal democracy, the report noted. The research directly contradicts the most influential model of lockdowns led by epidemiologist Neil Ferguson, which was largely responsible for driving the world's response to COVID-19 that jarred the US and the UK to action, according to the Wall Street Journal. Ferguson co-wrote the prominent paper in Nature published in June 2020 that estimated lockdowns in spring of that year saved 3 million European lives, but the study excluded the research because it relied on modeling, according to multiple reports. That's interesting. It was not showing any hard numbers. Let's just go off of modeling. That's an interesting way to publish a paper. This report on the effect of lockdowns does not significantly advance the understanding of relative collectiveness of the plethora of public health measures adopted by different countries to limit COVID-19 transmission, Ferguson posted on Social Media Center, a United Kingdom liaison. Okay, so again, I'm not interjecting an opinion here. I'm just reading what this article is saying. I'm not trying to say anything about nothing. And here's another article that says lockdowns only reduce COVID-19 mortality by 0.2%, study finds. Now, we should also take into consideration Johns Hopkins is a very, very reputable institution. We looked at Johns Hopkins Institution for a lot of different other studies. And it's interesting that this one study, which made a few headlines, was quickly dismissed and thrown away. Interesting, right? So with that in mind, let's go and read back over at this article about Van Morrison and his want to play. See, look, I'm not going to interject that. Let's just read this fucking article, shall we? So, knowing that there is a possibility that the COVID-19 shutdowns didn't really do a whole lot from stopping the spread. Obviously, people were shut down and the virus got around a lot, despite 2 weeks to curb the virus, right? 2 weeks. Remember, does everybody remember 2 weeks? I remember that. And then I remember 2 more weeks, and then it was 2 fucking years. So, let's just keep that in mind as we read through this article. The refrain seems to be referencing Robin Swan's 2020 op-ed in Rolling Stones, in which the public health official called Morrison dangerous in reference to the singer's efforts to perform live music during the early months of the 2020 lockdown. It goes further than disappointment, Swan wrote. Some of what he is saying is actually dangerous. It could encourage people not to take the coronavirus seriously. If you see it at all as a big conspiracy, then you are less likely to follow the vital public health advice that keeps you and the others safe. I just want to go on record saying that I don't think there was a conspiracy to not follow these measures. I don't think that. I was very invested in these numbers. I was very invested in keeping my family safe, especially in those early days. So in those early days, there was a lot of information being thrown around, and there was a lot of heightened emotions. And I am not one of those people who was sitting there being like, "Oh, this is all bullshit." I mean, eventually it did turn to that after more evidence came out. And obviously I've talked about that a lot on this show, so there's no need to go back into that. But the following summer in 2021, Morrison repeatedly shouted that Robin Swan is very dangerous on stage in Belfast after his shows were canceled last minute. Shortly thereafter, Swan sued Morrison for libel. Morrison defends himself throughout the song. "I was just looking for evidence. He singers. I've been asking for it for over a year." The song is the second offering from Morrison's forthcoming album, What's It Gonna Take, which will be released May 13th. So very interesting, right? It's very interesting that, I think with our own eyeballs, we saw how detrimental these lockdowns were, especially for mental health, especially for small businesses. A majority of the wealth was transferred to the top 1% in this time. It seems like there was a big transfer of wealth from people like us, or I don't know, not all of us. Some of you guys listening might be fucking one of the top 1%. I don't know. Apparently there's 2 million people fucking have heard my voice. So that's weird. That's fucking weird that there's been over 2 million people that's downloaded this podcast. That's really fucking weird to me. But anyways, any one of you could be part of that 1% that transferred that wealth from, working class to the 1%. So, hey, whatever, get your money, boo. But it did seem like there was a lot of people who benefited and a lot of people who didn't benefit from these lockdowns. And it is in dispute whether these lockdowns were effective at all. So it is in dispute, and by a very reputable source such as Johns Hopkins University. So I want to read this op-ed, and let's go steal again. Let's go steal some intellectual property from Rolling Stones. Because that's what we're doing here, folks. Northern Ireland's health minister would like a word with Van Morrison. His words will give great comfort to the conspiracy theorists, the tinfoil hat brigade who crusade against masks and vaccines, Robin Swan says of singer's new anti-lockdown songs. How dividing. Yummy, yummy. Trump wanted Black Lives Matter protesters to be shot, says former defense. Oh my God. Jesus. As Northern Ireland's health minister, Robin Swan's primary job these days is to ensure that the public is kept up to date with the latest factual information on the coronavirus and continually disseminate ways that the public can keep safe. Van Morrison, of all people, is not helping this situation. Taking the concept of protest music to bizarre conclusions, the 75-year-old singer announced the upcoming release of 3 new songs, No More Lockdown, Born to Be Free, and As I Walked Out, that accuse the government of taking our freedom and bashes the worldwide lockdown to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Morrison makes it clear in his new song how unhappy he was with the way the government has taken away personal freedoms, a post on his website. How we talk about Morrissey, my boy, I was drunk in days of hapless hour, and God knows I'm miserable now. Oh. Well, we're talking about Van Morrison, not Morrissey. But that might be some quotes. I don't know. That might be quotes from him. I'm not sure. But that was very poetically written. Either way, Samo. Either way. No more lockdowns, no more government overreach, no more fascist bullies disturbing our peace, Morrison sings. Those are some really artfully written lyrics there. Morrison sings on no more lockdown, no more, very, very direct wording there. Thank you, Van Morrison. No more taking of our freedom and our God-given rights, pretending it's for our safety when it's really to enslave. That's interesting. That's very interesting. In launching a campaign to save live music last month, Morrison railed against what he called the pseudoscience surrounding the coronavirus and claimed that socially distanced live events were not viable. I call on my fellow singers, musicians, writers, producers, promoters, and others in the industry to fight with me on this. He wrote in a since deleted post on his website. Come forward, stand up, fight the pseudoscience, and speak up. Few of his peers so far have heeded the call. I wonder why. Listen, whether you agree with him or not, people who step forward during this time, especially during 2020, 2021, talking like this could get you banned off Twitter. It could get you be a social pariah. Now that more evidence and such has come out, we have a little bit more freedom to talk about these subjects, which, that's fun. In an op-ed for Rolling Stone, Swan vacillates between disappointment, bemusement, and anger at the new cause of one of Northern Ireland's most celebrated singers. A Belfast City councillor is trying to revoke the singer's Freedom of Belfast Honour Award awarded to him in 2013. How fucking petty is that? The singer's Freedom of Belfast. So they are so against his freedom. Wait a second. They gave him a Freedom Award for his work about freedom and his stances on freedom and the freedom of speech, but now want to revoke that freedom honor for him talking and using and enacting his freedom of speech and his freedom to speak how he feels. Whether you agree with him or not, he can fucking say these things. That's okay for him to say these things. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I'm just saying it's interesting that they're trying to revoke a Freedom of Belfast honor for him. It just enacting his right, his freedom to speak on how he feels about the situation that was currently at that time happening. His words will give great comfort to conspiracy theorists, writes Swan, the tinfoil hat brigade who crusade against masks and vaccines and think this is all a huge global plot to remove freedoms. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. A lot of freedoms were lost in this. So, but we're slowly gaining them back. So, it's interesting, right? It's interesting. We in Northern Ireland are very proud of the fact that one of the greatest music legends of the past 50 years comes from our part of the world. So there's a real feeling of disappointment. We expected better from him. However, it goes further than disappointment. Some of what he is saying is actually dangerous. It could encourage people not to take coronavirus seriously. If you see it all as a big conspiracy, then you are less likely to follow the vital public health advice that keeps you and others safe. Governments across the world are struggling to find the right path through this pandemic. It's entirely right and proper to debate and question policies. That's more than our government said. Our government was like, "Don't you fucking question this shit, or we'll have Twitter kick you off the platform." It's legitimate to ask if the right balance is being found in what is being done, if the right steps are being taken. None of this is easy or straightforward. That seems reasonable to me. But Van Morrison is going way beyond raising questions. He is singing about fascist bullies and claiming governments are deceiving people and wanting to enslave. Look, if it's one thing we saw during this whole pandemic, it was our public officials who were telling us they'll be locked down and stay inside and not do anything, wear your mask, stay vaccinated, while they were out gallivanting, maskless, drinking, partying with stars. It happened all over the world. I mean, Boris Yeltsin, what's the fucking Boris Johnson, fucking the UK guy? He was under scrutiny for this shit. The fucking governor of California, tinfoil gang California representative, fucking Newsom was fucking out there partying with no mask on. So it is interesting that we were being told to do things as they did the direct opposite. So, I mean, just something to consider. But Van Morrison is going way beyond raising questions. He is singing about fascist bullies and claiming governments are deceiving people and wanting to enslave. It's a little weird. Again, largest transfer of wealth ever. It's actually a smear on all those involved in the public health response to a virus that has taken lives on a massive scale. His words will give great comfort to the conspiracy theorists, the tinfoil hat brigade who crusade against masks and vaccines and think this is all a huge global plot to remove freedoms. Again, a lot of freedoms were removed, and a lot of freedoms to speak out against that were removed in a very corporate way. Maybe not governments, but very corporate way. The freedom to speak out against things were very well censored. Only a few years ago, Van said, "I'm apolitical. I've got nothing to say about politics whatsoever." Wow, did the pandemic change that? United States is like, we'll take your outing privileges, no more concerts for you, no more baseball games for you, no more wrestling for you, sit in your homes and behave like little caged monkeys you are. Yeah, and then let's not forget what's happening in Shanghai right now with this zero COVID policy, which none of their measures are working. They're spreading, the disease is still spreading over there as they bag up cats. Should we show the bagged up cats? Let's see if we can find the bagged up cat. I know we're going down the rabbit hole, guys, but let's see the bagged up cats. This is when the lurkers who have been like holding on just by like a thread were just like, no, I'm out. Let's just see some images. Oh, here we go. There you go. These are the cats that are bagged up. China's relentless pursuit of COVID zero world reaches a harrowing new low as this video of cats in bags emerges from Shanghai. And they were bagging up cats because cats spread COVID. Dogs spread COVID, they say. Gotta bag up the cats. Okay, I better not talk too loud here. Anyways, we won't go into what they were doing with those animals, but just know. So it's all very, very interesting. And again, I don't want to get too far into... I've already talked all about this shit over the last couple of years. I'm done fucking interjecting my very vocal opinions about these things. I'm done with it. I don't care anymore. We're getting past this. I think we should get past this, but I think it's interesting that this dude is still fighting a liable lawsuit of defamation because he wanted to speak freely about what he believes in. So, you know, whatever. He's changed his tune big time since then. He could have chosen to sing about how we all could help save lives. He could have written a tribute to our health and social care workers on the front line. I mean, who gives, what, you think, now you're going to tell him what he can write about? Fuck you. There are also so many things in the world to sing protest songs about, like poverty, starvation, injustice, racism, violence, austerity. There's a long list. Instead, he's chosen to attack attempts to protect the old and vulnerable in our society. It's a bizarre and irresponsible. It's all bizarre and irresponsible. I only hope no one takes him too seriously. He's no guru, nor no teacher. So there you go. And I think that's fucking Rolling Stone fucking interjecting their own opinion in there. How interesting. Again, I don't feel bad for stealing from Rolling Stone because they've become a mouthpiece of the state. There, I said it. All right, let's move on. Should we get out of this glump